All right, good morning, church. How are we doing today? Everybody good? Awesome. Awesome. I just want to echo a little bit of what Michelle said. We did have a great time last night. I want to thank everybody that helped make that happen. We had 14 different trunks. We had every ministry serving and everywhere. We had people slaving in the kitchen, serving food, doing security, first aid. I mean, we had people everywhere. This church really came through and provided an environment that was really safe, really awesome for all the kids to come and have fun. But there's two people I really want to give extra thanks to, and that's Elizabeth sitting right here and Taylor, who's out in the lobby. They did a really good job putting that all together. If you came and you said, this is really awesome, it's because of those two. They really did a really good job really brainstorming that and making a plan so that we could have a great time. So thank you all for participating in that. This is our third week of our series, Let It Fall. We're going to be talking about a subject that probably needs to be talked about more in churches. It's a subject that is affecting the whole world. It's growing rapidly. I am passionate about it because it's something that I've been through. And so today that we are going to be talking about depression. And I just want to give you a little bit of a background of why I'm passionate about it. When I, about 10 years ago, was living life, we were plumbing. I was a master plumber, and Aaron, who's my best friend, he's somewhere back there, okay, we had this dream, and we're like, hey, we're going to own a company together. And so I was working for somebody, he was working for somebody, but then we owned a company together, and we had this master plan. It was so awesome. We were going to only work 4 days a week, golf 1 week, and then go vacation all the time, all right? It was the perfect plan. We had everything. Life was good. Kids were good. Income was good. House was good. Everything was good. We had a future. We had it all figured out. And then God came around and he was like, hey, I don't want you to do that. I want you to come pastor the church. And I really struggled with it. And I'm like, okay, God, but if this is really what you want me to do, I'll say yes. And so I said yes. And surprisingly to me, the first time I ever experienced depression was when I became a pastor. That sounds kind of backwards, but it really happened that way because I really sacrificed a lot in that moment. I sacrificed my dreams, I sacrificed my desires, I sacrificed my job, I sacrificed everything to say yes to God. And I really expected when I said yes to God for it to be roses, butterflies, and gumdrops. You know, I just really expected it to be that way. And instantly, we hit just a really hard patch in life. I had some people that really said some nasty things about me. I had some people that kind of like challenged my character. I had some people that I had grown up with my whole life kind of turned their back. I mean, it was just a really tough time. And I found myself depressed. And I was kind of frustrated with God, and I was even thinking things like, if I knew this is what it was going to be, I would have never said yes. My life was happy. My life was good, and if this is what serving you gets me, I'm not so sure I want to do this. I'm not sure this is what I want to be because I expected it to be awesome and everybody to love me, and it was just going to be so wonderful, and I just had, I guess, a naive mindset of what it was going to be like if I said yes to God. And so I found myself even getting to the point where I was like, man, I don't even want to be a part of church. I don't want to go. I don't want to be there. I don't want to be with these people. I really struggled for a long time, and God had to really work in me and through some people, and he brought me out of it. And so after that, I had a really good understanding of what lots of people in this world are going through. And what I want to do is I want to help all of us understand what it is, why you're going through it, that it's okay that you're going through it, but most of all, the biggest thing I want to do is I want to help you get out of it. I want to tell you it's okay if you find yourself in it. Just don't stay in it. Just don't sit in it. Don't stay there. Let's get out of it. Let's recover and let's go. Because you're a Christian doesn't mean that nothing bad will happen to you. It just means you have a greater power to overcome the things that happen to you. And so that's the biggest difference. And so just to make sure we're all on the same page, I want to let's work through it a little bit. Depression, if you're not aware, is a mood disorder that causes a persistent feeling of sadness or loss of interest, right? You're just not interested anymore. It makes you incapable of feeling pleasure in things that you used to love to do. I used to love to go to church. I used to love to serve. I used to love to do these things. And all of a sudden, I don't love doing it anymore. I used to love hanging out. I used to love going out. I used to love doing it, but I don't find pleasure in it anymore. And I don't know what it is, but all I ever want to do is just lay here, do nothing, and just be by myself. And nothing can make me happy anymore. It doesn't feel like anything is going to change it. That is the sum of what depression is. As a matter of fact, it has become the number one health problem in the world today. And if you don't believe me, let me just give you just a couple stats that helps prove this. 1 out of 9 people right now in the world are on medication for depression or mental health. 1 out of 9. 1 out of 5 people have at some point been on it. And it's only increasing and getting more. COVID did a number on this world. It isolated us even more than we've ever been isolated, and depression and anxiety and all those things went skyrocketing. And so it's really big, but what I want to make sure is that we handle it in the right way, not if we have it, but if others have it as well, because sometimes we approach this subject in the wrong way. Let me explain it this way. In the back of the room are 2 TVs. I use those to help me stay online, or we'll be here for hours, okay? And so I use that to read and keep me on track. But if I were to come out here and pick up some glasses and put on some glasses because I could no longer see them the way that my body was designed to see them, you wouldn't think twice about it. You would just be like, oh, he just needs some glasses. No big deal. Or if I were to walk up to you as we were leaving this place and go, you know what, I think I'm kind of getting a cold and I think I'm getting a bug. You would just go, oh, I'm so sorry. I'll pray for you. I hope you feel better. It wouldn't be a big deal at all. But for some reason, in culture, in church, in life today, when someone comes up to us and says, oh, well, I think I might be depressed, or I think I might be suffering with anxiety, or I might be going through some sort of mental illness, we look at them like, oh, there's something really wrong with you. And we view it in a way that it's a stigma where it's beyond something normal. And I'm telling you right now, that is what hurts people. Because there's nothing wrong with them. They're just going through something just like any other sickness or illness that we go through in our body. Something's not functioning properly. And so when we do this, when we treat people with a stigma or look down upon it or that there's something wrong with them, basically what happens is they start to want to hold it within. They don't want to tell people about it. They don't want to go seek help, because the last thing I want when I'm suffering through this is for people to judge me and look down upon me. This is a big, big problem, because sometimes it leads people to think things like the only relief that I can get from this is a permanent decision to a temporary problem. And that's what we don't want. We don't want people to think the only way I can end this is by taking my life. Suicide, because depression has gone up, has risen also. Suicide rates are going up dramatically, especially for people at ages 15 to 24. If you're in that range of ages, that is the number one cause of death for that age range. That's not good. Second place is murder, and number 1 is double number 2. That's how bad it is. And what's happening is somehow they are getting convinced in their mind that the only way to end the pain is to end their life, which is not true. That is a lie from the enemy. The second thing that they would believe is that everybody else will be better if I'm not here anymore. And that's even worse of a lie. That is not true. Nobody will be better if you're not here. And so I don't want anybody believing that the world will be better off without you. That's not true. God created you and designed you for a reason. You are loved and you matter. Okay? So if we as the church body, as Restoration Church and all of the church, if we do a better job of approaching this subject in the right way, if we approach people in the right way, then they will feel like they're in an environment where they can come and say, hey, I need help. I'm not doing so good today. And they might reach out and seek help with something that can be fixed. There is a way out. There is a solution. His name is Jesus Christ. And so we can help people to come through these things. We as the church need to make it okay for people to come into this place and say, hey, I'm not okay. I am suffering. I am down. I am not doing well. And us go, no problem. I'm here to help you, and Jesus Christ is too. And to make it okay for people to seek help in this place for things that aren't as easy as a common cold. But what's causing this? What leads us to depression or mental illness? Well, there's lots of factors. And so I went through digging, and some of it is genetic. Some of it is, you're more susceptible because of things of how you were created. There's lots of other factors. But I want to talk about one that I think is the biggest factor of why we find ourselves going through anxiety and depression and mental illness. And that is our lifestyle. Our lifestyle is leading us to this, because if you didn't know this, our body, our mind, and our heart was not created to live the way we live today. This is a fast-paced, busy, cram-it-full life, and we're not designed to handle it. We are sheep, not donkeys, okay? Sheep are not animals that carry burdens. Those are horses and donkeys and stuff. God calls us sheep. Why? Because we are not meant to carry our burdens. We're not meant to hold this life up. That is His job. And so we struggle in these moments. Let me give you some examples of how this happens. Technology, cell phones, and social media, though they are great inventions, though they help us tremendously, they have also caused us to isolate and individualize ourselves more than ever before. We so much more stay in our house, on a couch, isolated. Or you'll even see hey, there's 4 people in a restaurant sitting at a table, and each one of them has their phone up. They don't even talk to each other. It's like, I don't even know how to interact with the person right in front of me. We have a generation of people coming up, from teenagers to adults, that won't even order their own meal. It's like, you want me to talk to a stranger? Can I text it to them? We can't function outside of the technology. Making relationships has become harder and harder. Job interviews have become harder and harder. And we just don't know how to interact with people anymore. Technology has changed us. It's changing the way our brains function and work and mold. They're blessings, but there is another side to them as well. Another thing that's happening is this world in general is suffering from a lack of knowing their identity. That's a big problem, because we're wandering around going, who am I? Who am I in this world? How do I fit? Where do I belong? What am I supposed to do? If I don't know who I am, I'm suffering because I have no purpose. And without purpose, we're lost. We're just aimlessly living life. And that is a hard place to live in. I need to know who I am, and I need to know what I was created for. I need people to know me, the real me, and then I need to be able to do things so that people need me, and then I feel fulfilled in life. If I don't have those things, then I'm lost. Another thing is increasing processing pain incorrectly, okay? The way that we say this is over-dependence on medicating ourselves, both with medication and non-medication things. Now, I stopped there for a second. I absolutely believe in doctors, and I know that there's absolutely reasons that some people need to take medicine for their mental health. I'm not telling you to stop. But there are situations where we are trying to numb the pain instead of fixing the pain. I believe God has given wisdom to doctors to help us. I do that. I don't neglect doctors or any of that field or anything. But Jesus is a big part of the solution, and we can't eliminate Him and totally just try to numb things. If you just numb through alcohol or addictions or substance and stuff like that, the problem never goes away. It just gets worse because we're not addressing it. Jesus can help you address those problems, lead you to the right help that you need to get past these things, okay? A huge one that we see today that is something that we shouldn't be doing is peer-to-peer advice. Peer-to-peer advice. Let me just tell you, I know as a teenage boy, the worst thing I could do is seek all my life advice from another teenage boy. I would have been in jail, okay? Do you think this is a good idea? Yeah, man, jump off that. It's just not a good idea. Somehow down the road, we stopped asking people that are 10 to 20 years older than us, what should I be doing? Seeking out wisdom and guidance. And I'll add a little bit more to it. somehow in the church, we don't really see the older generation mentoring the younger generation like it used to. Coming in and saying, you know what? I see something in you, and I'm going to take you personally as I want to mentor your life. You belong to me. I know I'm not your parent, but I'm going to be here for you. I'm going to help you. I'm going to guide you. And I'm going to be a part of your life. We've lost that. And as we lose that, they just go to the easiest thing. And so we have teenagers asking teenagers what they should do, where they should go, what school they should go. Young adults that are lost asking other young adults what are good financial decisions. Okay, they haven't done that yet. They don't know the answer. They'll encourage you to go buy the $300,000 house even though you can't afford it. But the house looks really cool. Yeah, you're going to lose it, okay? I mean, you need to ask somebody that's paid for a house before, what kind of house should I buy? What kind of car should I buy? Is this good? Is this bad? You know, somebody with some wisdom in there. Now, these are the things that add together, and then I'm just going to throw on top busyness. The number one weapon that the enemy uses is just absolute busyness. Because if you are so busy, you don't have time for God. You don't have time to read. You don't have time to pray. You don't have time to go to church. You don't have time to serve or go to small group or any of that. And so, man, we're just left out there in the open. But if the scientists, and I'm not talking about just Christian, the scientists out there saying that this is caused by our lifestyle, in a way, that's good news. And the reason that's good news is because if our depression and anxiety and fear is mostly created by the way we're living our lives, we can change that. We can make decisions to change our life so that we're less affected by depression and mental illness. Now, something I want everybody in here to hear and to understand, God is not thrown off by your struggles. He doesn't listen to your needs and go, man, I can't believe you're going through this. He understands completely and is not thrown off by it. Matter of fact, He has given us a really amazing gift called the Bible. And in this Bible, He made sure there was things in it to help us through tough subjects like this. And so what did He do? He placed in this Bible great men and women of God that talk through their impact of depression. And so I want to show you a couple stories today just so that you can see, hey, it's not a Christian, non-Christian thing. It's a human thing. But even great leaders in the Bible had bad days, suffered. And so if they can go through it and come out of it, guess what? We can too. They're not any better or closer to God than we are. There was in the Old Testament, if you're an Old Testament person, there's a prophet named Jeremiah. And this guy suffered so bad, he wrote a whole book. It's called Lamentations. There's a whole book in your Bible geared towards him crying out to God, talking about how bad he's suffering and going through it. And just to give you an example, this is Lamentations 3:17 through 20. And it says, peace has been stripped away. I just don't have any peace. And I have forgotten what prosperity is. It's so bad I can't even remember. I cry out, my splendor is gone. Everything I had hoped for from the Lord is lost. The thought of my suffering and homelessness is bitter beyond words. My life right now is so bad I can't even tell you. I can't even explain it. I can't put words to it. I will never forget this awful time as I have grieved over my loss. Can anybody identify with that? I mean, I've felt that before. Like, I can't even, someone walks up and like, what's going on? I can't even tell you. Like, I can't even put the words together to even explain to you what I'm going through. It's so heavy on me right now. And right now it's so heavy and so big, I can't even see anything else but this. And I'll never forget what's going on right now. That's how deep it's impacted my life. Maybe you're here this morning, you're going, well, that's Old Testament stuff. I'm a New Testament person. Well, cool, I got one of them too. You know, look, maybe you've heard of this guy. Maybe you haven't. I mean, his name's Paul. He wrote half our Bible. You know, this guy, I mean, he's one of the biggest names in all the Bible. And guess what? He experienced this stuff too. And so in 2 Corinthians 1, 8 through 9, it says this. We think you ought to know, dear brothers and sisters. He just wants you to be informed. Let me let you know something. about the trouble we went through on the province of Asia. Here's what they went through. We were crushed and overwhelmed beyond our ability to endure. Man, our trials were so heavy. Man, we couldn't even handle it. It was beyond what I felt like I can give. God says in this Bible that He'll never give you more than you can handle. But sometimes it's like, God, like you must be thinking I'm somebody else because this is too much. It's beyond what I feel like I can endure. And we thought we would never live through it. In fact, we just expected to die. I mean, that's the feeling. Like I think this is it. I'm not going to escape this. I'm not going to make it through this. This is it. This is how I go out. But look, in fact, we expected to die, but as a result, we stopped relying on ourselves and learned to rely only on God who raised the dead. Yeah, we went through this really hard time. It was beyond what we could handle. In fact, I thought I was going to die to it. But even in that bad time, I learned something really important. That if I rely not on myself, if I don't try to figure out the solution, if I don't try to get myself out of it, but I totally rely on God, man, He's the one that raises people to life. Even when I feel dead inside, He can bring new life to me. Come on, that's the God we serve. That's the God that lives in here. That's the God that's doing things for us. And so it's not by our powers, not by our strength, but by His Spirit living inside of us. So now that we kind of understand what we're talking about, what we're going through, now that we it's not horrible, right? I know I go through it, but I can get out of it. Let's look at one story in this Bible. If you have your Bible with you, I'm so glad you brought it. Open up to 1 Kings 19. That's where we're going to be at. And we're going to look through this story. I'm going to show you 4 ways we can get into depression and 4 ways we can get out. Because these guys, they figured it out for us. We don't have to figure it out. They gave it to us. And so while you're flipping to chapter 19, I want to tell you what happened in chapter 18 so we have a little bit of context. The prophet Elijah called together everybody. He's just bringing everybody together. The nation of Israel, the king of Israel, the prophets of Baal, and all the people that have been turning from God. He brings them all together. And basically what's going to happen is they're going to figure out who's God. Because there's the God that they say is God, and then there's this Baal guy. And the nation of Israel has been worshiping this Baal God. And he goes, okay, you got to decide rather Baal's God or God's God. And so you can't be flip-flopping back and forth. And so we're going to figure this out, and we're going to do it in front of everybody. So they set up this situation. It's kind of like a God-off. We're going to see who shows up. And so there's 800 prophets of Baal, and they have a sacrifice. And then there's one prophet of God, and he's going to have a sacrifice. And we're going to see which God shows up. So he lets them go first, because home field advantage, you go first. And so they get their sacrifice together, and they start worshiping and praying and singing and doing all the things. And guess what? Baal don't show up. Why? Because you can't show up if you ain't real. You know, nothing happens. And so he starts to mock them and go, hey, maybe he's going to the bathroom. Maybe he's busy. You know, maybe you should cry a little louder. And he's mocking them, and they try, and they give up. And man, he don't show up because he's not real. And so then it's his turn. He goes, well, not only do I believe that my God's going to show up, but I want you to know without a shadow of a doubt who the God is. So he says, go get a bunch of water and dump it all over the sacrifice, because as you know, water and fire don't mix. And so they get all this water and they soak the wood to a point where it would never even be able to light. He prays to God. God comes down in a consuming fire, consumes up the sacrifice, the wood, the altar, and it says it licks up the water. Every bit of it consumes it. And so there's no question. They all believe. And so he says, hey, take all these false prophets, take it down, put them to the sword, and kill them. And so they kill all the false prophets. Then he goes up to the mountainside and says, hey, y'all better prepare. I'm about to turn on the rain. Because it's been a drought, and there's been not a drought for all these years. And so he starts to pray, and the cloud comes, and the rain's coming. And he goes, go home, the rain's coming, or you're going to get caught in it. Turn your page, chapter 19. That's where we'll pick up. Now Ahab, who's the king, told Jezebel, who's the queen, everything Elijah had done and how he had killed all the prophets with the sword. So Jezebel sent a messenger to Elijah to say, may the gods deal with me, be it ever so severely, if by this time tomorrow I don't make your life like one of them. Basically, she said, I'm going to kill you. Let the gods deal with me if I don't kill you by this time tomorrow the way you killed my prophets. Because she was the one kind of pushing this. Now, we need to understand something about this part of the verse. As of right now, hey, it's just words. This is just words. She's just saying something. As a matter of fact, I'll throw another layer on there. What she's saying is impossible and empty. It's an empty threat. How do I know it's an empty threat? Because if you're going to kill somebody, you don't tell them. You know what I mean? Like, you don't go to the person, send a messenger and go, hey, Monica, I just want to let you know at 2 o'clock tomorrow, be right here. I'm going to kill you. You know, you just don't do that. If you're going to kill somebody, you send a knife or a gun. You know, you go after them and you kill them. And so she knows, hey, I'm not going to be able to fulfill this. But I want to send a messenger to tell you this, because even though I can't really kill you, because I know that you just showed who the good God is, and all this miracle has just happened. They're holding you as a great man of God. I can't actually take your life, but I can steal something from you. I can take something from you. I can take your peace. I can take your joy. I can take your happiness. And my words can do that if you allow it. But here's the thing I want to tell you about today. In your life, in my life, words only have the power you give them. You are the one that are empowering those words in your life. And so if somebody said something to you and it hurts you, it's because you allowed those words to come in and have an impact on your life. What am I saying? He could have just said, no, you ain't. You're not coming to get me. You're not stealing my joy. I have a God that's bigger than anything you can do. And so what I want to say is connect this to your life today. Have you ever had somebody send a text message or a DM or a post or something, you received it, you read it, and all of a sudden, man, that just destroyed my day? Well, you let that happen. You empowered those words to have that effect on your life. As you're reading that, you can go, I'm sorry. This isn't going to have my day. I'm sorry. I'm sorry you feel this way, but you're not going to steal my joy. I'm not going to let this have power over me or control me. But the truth is, sometimes we give too much power to people and to words and to the enemy and to the things out there that just that words, we let it take our life and consume us. And Elijah did the same thing, so we're not alone. And in verse 3 it says, Elijah was afraid and he ran for his life. And so this is the first one that we need to look at. The first mistake that he makes is Elijah believes a lie from the enemy. This is why it's called a stronghold. Right? We're breaking strongholds. What is a stronghold? A stronghold is a lie from the enemy that we hear in our head, we believe, and we allow it to capture us. We allow it to imprison us, even though there's nothing really holding us. We allow it to control us, even though the truth says what that lie is not true. So, wrap your head around this. Elijah calls the whole nation and 800 prophets of Baal. And in front of 800 men, he stands before them and tells them, y'all are wrong. I'm going to defeat you. I'm going to mock you. I'm going to mock your God. I'm going to do all these things. And I'm not one bit worried. 800 men right there. I'm doing everything to agitate them. No fear. One lady sends a message through a messenger and he's running for his life. Now, I'm not saying that it's a men-woman thing. I'm saying it's an 800 to 1 thing. Like, if you're not scared of 800 people, why in the world are you scared of one? Why are you letting this happen? What's happened to the faith and the boldness that was there just a moment ago when you're standing in front of all these prophets? See, what I want to tell you and what I think happened in this story is depression and anxiety and fear doesn't come in when you're down and out. No. It comes in when you're high, when things are going good. You know, I think, man, the world can't get any better than it is right now. Man, everything's perfect. Everything's flowing the way it should. Everything's good. And then the next thing, when I'm not on that high and things are going good, I do the worst thing possible. I let my guard down. I stop praying as much as I used to pray. I stop reading my Bible as much as I used to read. I stop including God as much as I used to include Him. Why? Because, man, things are good, God. Take a break. Take a day of rest. I got this under control. And we start thinking, I got it. And when I got it, man, that's scary. Because I don't want to have it. He needs to have it. And the problem is when things are going good, then we start to think, well, if this is good, more's got to be what? Better. And so then I start to overextend myself. I start to say yes to things I shouldn't say to. I start taking on more and more and more and more, and I wear myself out. My lifestyle gets crazy, and then I crash. And I make myself open to the enemy because I took control because things were good. And that's the problem. I mean, he just had the biggest victory he's ever had in his life, and in a moment, he's running for it. Off of words. Then it goes on in the next part to say, when he came to Beersheba and Judah, he left his servant there. Now this is an interesting moment because every time the Bible names a place or names a person or says a number, there's always meaning behind it. The reason it names the place where he's at, because this was the same location that he said yes to God. Isn't that interesting? That he goes back to the place he said yes to God, and now he's saying no, God. He brings us back to those times and those periods of our life where it's like, man, how did I get here? Well, I got here by saying yes. But then I lost it. But the second mistake that he makes in this moment is when you are feeling the symptoms of depression, the last thing you want to do is isolate yourself. The last thing you need to do is be alone. Why? Because when you're by yourself, you're the only one to talk to. And when you're not doing right, you're the last person that you should be giving yourself advice. You should not be listening to yourself when you are struggling. Why? Because you can't trust your thoughts and your feelings. Here's an example. There'll be times where thoughts will come up into your mind. You go, well, man, nobody likes me. Nobody wants to be around me. I have no friends. And when you're feeling these things and you're kind of down and out, you'll look across and you'll see two people talking. And in that moment, you'll be like, they're talking about me. You didn't hear a thing, but you're just so convinced that they're talking about you, and you take that to heart, and over there, they're talking about what food they're going to eat later. But because I'm alone and I'm separated and I'm isolated, I've allowed my feelings and my thoughts to make up things that aren't true, and I allow that to come in and damage myself. Why? Because my thoughts and my feelings can't be trusted. Therefore, I need the right people in my life to speak into my life. Not just any people, the right people. So, in honor of my assistant pastor, David, I will say it for him. You need to be in a group. All right? We do this for a reason. Let me explain. We as the leadership of the church are very, very, very aware, and you are very, very aware that you can be surrounded by people and absolutely still feel alone. You could be sitting in this room right now next to people and still have the feeling of, I'm alone. Nobody understands, nobody knows, I'm so alone in this, sitting next to people who love you. And I'll go even further beyond that. We, as your leadership, are very aware that you can come to a church full of people on a Sunday morning and not talk to a single one of them. You just happen to come late during worship, and you just happen to be the first one out before anybody can say a word to you, and you came to church, but you ain't talked to nobody. And you're alone. So what's really interesting is you can't do that in a group. When you go to your group, and it's smaller, and you go into the house, you walk in, they look at you and they go, what's going on? Why? Because there's a relationship there. They can see you and know that's not you. That's not what you're normally like. That's not who you normally are. Something's going on. And even if you go, oh, no, I'm fine. No, don't give me that. I know something's wrong. You're not yourself today. You're not the way you normally are. And if you say it again, you go, no, everything's good. I'm fine. Then they go, honey, lock the door, they're lying. Let me lock them in. We're going to get down to the... No, nobody would lock you in their house. It's just a joke. Okay? But the point is, you're going to have people around you that care for you so much. They want to create an atmosphere that you are comfortable enough walking in and go, you know what? I can trust you, and I can take off the mask and really let you know who I am inside. I don't have to pretend. I don't have to put on church face and pretend. And so, some of y'all come up here and you've had the worst day in the world. We go up to you and go, hey, how you doing? Oh, great. Everything's wonderful. Praise God. You put on, and it's not all right, and it's not good, and you're not praising God. But we feel like we can't show people who we really are because we're scared what they might think about us. So maybe not everybody can see the real you, but somebody needs to. You need to be in some sort of group where they can know who you really are. But most importantly, you don't need to be in these situations alone. Alone. You need people in your life. Look at verse 4. While he himself went on day's journey into the wilderness, he came to a broom bush and sat down underneath it and prayed that he might die. I have had enough, Lord, he said. Take my life. I am no better than my ancestors. Things have gotten so bad in his mind and where he's at, he thinks the best thing for him is a permanent answer to a temporary solution. This is not good. You don't want to be in this place where these thoughts are coming. Matter of fact, in his moment, he's praying to God to just end his life. Just take me. I don't want to go through this anymore. And in this moment, in this situation, he makes the next two mistakes that we can make in our life. The third mistake that we can make is we begin to ruminate and allow ourselves to be led by our feelings. We ruminate and we allow ourselves to be led by our feelings. Rumination is the regathering of things. So here's the example I can give you. All right, a cow ruminates. How does a cow ruminate? It goes out into the field, it gets a bunch of grass, it chews it up, it swallows it, then it vomits it back up into his mouth. And it chews it up, and it swallows it, and it regurgitates it up. But each time it regurgitates it, it's nastier. And it's nastier, and it's nastier, and it's nastier. But it just does that. And it's weird. And then we eat the beef. You know what I mean? I just don't know what's going on. But it's gross. And the thing is, we do this in our minds. Because what happens is we get these emotions and these feelings and these thoughts in our minds, and that thought comes up, and we go, no. Let's just get that out of our mind. Let's let it go. And we let it go, but then we bring it back up. And the second time we bring it back up, it's just a little bit nastier, right? And it's a little bit more gross, and it's got more details in it. Then you get it out of your mind, then you bring it back up, and it's a little bit worse. And as you keep bringing it up, and as you keep going over it, it gets nastier and nastier, and it gets bigger and bigger, and more lies get attached to it, where you don't even know the truth anymore. And you've made it into something that it never really was, but you are just stirring it up in your minds. We keep bringing it up and we keep going over it, and it grows and it grows and it grows. Then we add on by going, okay, now I got all this going on, and then I allow my feelings to take control of my actions. That's a problem. I want to explain to you that having feelings is very, very natural. Actually, having feelings is important because our feelings are what indicate that something is wrong. I feel this, so I need to get help. We need our feelings to notify when things are wrong. Here we go. Something's wrong. Get help. The problem is when we allow the feelings to dictate our actions when we're feeling like something's wrong. So when I feel it, I need to seek out help. But if we allow our feelings to dictate our decisions, I guarantee you all the time our feelings will lead us down the path that ends poorly. We make bad decisions when we let our feelings dictate it. I'm going to tell you, 90% of my bad decisions come from an emotional feeling inside of me where I reacted. And then afterwards went, I really wish I wouldn't have done that. I really wish I wouldn't have said that. I really wish I wouldn't have chosen that because I reacted. John 8, 32 says this, and you will know the truth, and what? The truth will set you free. Your feelings won't, your thoughts won't, the truth will. We have to get to the truth. The fourth mistake that Elijah makes is comparison. He goes, I'm no better than my ancestors. And of course, I know, look, guys, please believe me when I say this. I am not against technology. I'm not against social media. I think they're wonderful things. But when you are suffering from depression or mind things or anything where you are down and out, do not get on social media and compare everybody's highlight reel to your lows. All right, that is the worst time to go start looking at everybody's life because nobody posts the truth. All right, they're just snippets of their life and nobody posts the worst moments. They only post the best moments. And I promise you, if you see a parent and their kids all hugging on them and, oh, that's so beautiful, you missed the 5 minutes before that they were screaming their head off. You know, like you missed the craziness. You only see the picture. You know what I mean? You see the brand new beautiful house, but you don't see the debt. You see the brand new car, but you don't see the struggle. And so we show you the wonderful moments, but we don't show you everything else. And we go in there when we're down and out and go, man, I'm so unhappy with my situation. I'm so unhappy with my life. Let me see how good yours is. Don't do that. You're never going to come out happy with that decision because it's always going to make you feel worse about what you have. Look at Galatians 1:10. Adrian read this verse last week, and I just want to kind of bring it up again. Obviously, I'm not trying to win the approval of people, right? You don't need to have all this so that people will think you're important, but of God. If pleasing people were my goal, I would not be Christ's servant. So we can see that comparison is never going to do anything good for us. Go on to verse 5. So we've seen the 5 ways that we get into it, but we got to get out of it now. All right, that's the most important thing I want you to have is that we get out of it. Verse 5 says, then he laid down under the bush and fell asleep. And once again the angel touched him and said, get up and eat. Then he looked around, and there by his head was some baked bread over hot coals. I believe these are the rolls from, oh my God, Texas Roadhouse with the little butter and the cinnamon. You know what I mean? It's just right there with a jar. I believe it's sweet tea, not water. You know, this is fine. And he ate and he drank and laid down again. Okay, look, the major key that we need to say, if I'm suffering in mental health, the starting place, the place that we begin is not in the mental, it's in the physical. Because if I'm not strong enough to battle, how am I going to do it? And so we need to make sure that we are strong physically. Come on, I'm going to do something for you today. Y'all going to love me. I'm going to be your favorite pastor all the time. Let me make your day. You're going to be so happy you came to church. According to the scripture that we read, the best thing you could do for yourself is take a nap. You know what I mean? Come on, amen. After church today, we're going to go get something to eat. We're going to eat some bread with some butter, and we're going to take a nap. You know, we're going to put on some golf and don't watch a thing of it. You know what I mean? It's going to be good. So I'm going to help you. Okay, look at your spouse and go, I know that I told you that I would clean the house and mow the yard today, but pastor told me I need to take a nap. You know what I mean? Like, pastor says so, it's going to be okay. I can't do the things I said I wanted to. I really would, but pastor said, because the scripture and God's word that is breathed out to us in holiness said we got to take a nap. And so we're going to do that, okay? Verse 7. I'm trying to get you out of here. I'm starving, y'all. Verse 7. The angel of the Lord came back a second time, touched him and said, get up and eat again. So you eat twice a day, okay? And the journey's so much for you. So he got up and he ate and he drank. Strengthened by that food, he traveled for 40 days, 40 nights until he reached Horeb, the mountain of God. There he went into a cave and he spent the night. Okay, let's break this down. For time purposes, I'm just going to tell you the rest. You'll have to read it at home, okay? He goes into this cave. And while he's in the cave, he hears God speaking. It says, come out and meet me here. My presence is going to come by. And so he comes by and he expresses himself in the form of earth, wind, and fire. Not the band, but the God, okay? So everything good comes from the Bible. Not the band, it's God. And he finds himself and he goes through there and he experiences them. In the first 2, God's not in it. The third one, he comes and it's a whisper and he hears God's voice in there and God begins to speak to him, give him new purpose, and it re-energizes him. And so what I want you to tell you and what I want you to get is I want you to get several things from this. The 4 things that you need to know is, first, you got to get physically healthy. What does that mean? Slow down your life. You don't need to do everything. Slow down your life. We are overextending ourselves to exhaustion. And no wonder you can't battle. You are so worn out, you don't have a fight left in you. Slow down your life. We are not designed to live at the pace that this world is going. He didn't create us for that. Slow it down and take more naps, all right? Get some rest. Sleep properly. Here's the thing. Eat right. Nobody in the history of all people has left Taco Bell feeling good. You know what I mean? Like, you just don't do it. Like, you don't eat that and go, man, I feel great afterwards. No, you eat it, you go, that was good, but I feel horrible, right? McDonald's does not make you feel good. Fast food is not going to do the trick. You need to eat something that was actually picked from the ground, naturally created, put together in a loving way in a little package that's so delicious, okay? You got to eat the right stuff to feel good. There's a reason God put certain things in this Bible for us to eat. A guideline of things that are going to make us feel the best. They don't always taste the best, but they will make you feel the best. But most importantly, out of all that, is you have to have a Sabbath in your life. You need to give one day to God and to rest. We call that Sunday, but for some of y'all, it may be impossible. If Sunday's impossible, pick another day. But there needs to be a day where you don't do anything but recover and relax and be with God. Why? Because you won't make it. You won't make it. The more you run down your body, you are opening yourself not just to mental things, but physical sickness. Your body can only handle so much. Look what Psalms 127:2 says. It is useless for you to work so hard from early in the morning until late at night, anxiously working for food to eat, for God gives rest to those who love His loved ones. Okay, secondly, you need to pour your heart out to God. Like, He needs to be involved in this. You can't hold it back and go, you know what, I'll figure it out. No, I need to pour it out to God. God is not shocked by what you are going through. He is ready to not only listen, but to take that from you. He's the one that wants to carry your burdens. You weren't created for it. He wants it. He says, give it to me. I want it. Elijah, even in his prayer, even in his conversation with God at the cave, he lies. He lies in his whining to God. And we sometimes lie in our whining to God. But God's okay with it. What does He say? He goes, I'm the only one left. There's nobody else out there. Everybody's gone. It's only me, and now they want to kill me too. But one chapter before, he meets the servant of the king, and the servant of the king tells him that he's hidden away 1,000 other believers, and he's been feeding them. So he knows for a fact he's not the only one. But right now, he feels like he's the only one. And so sometimes what we say to God isn't absolute truth, but it's what we feel. It's what we were going through. And so God's okay. Exaggerate a little bit. Get it out. Pour it out. Let Him know how you're feeling. And He will take that. He will listen to you and have that. And then you got to be ready to hear from Him on how you're going to get out of it. Look what Matthew says in 11:28-29. It says, then Jesus said, come to me, all you who are what? Weary and carrying heavy burdens, and I'll do something for you. I'll give you rest. Take my yoke upon you. Let me what? Teach you, because I am humble and gentle at heart, and you will find rest for your souls. Look, He says, come to me and give me everything you're going through. Let me know. Turn it over, pour it out, give it to me. But then He says, in return, let me do something. Let me teach you. Let me teach you so that you can be in rest. The third thing that you need to do is you need to be experiencing God and His presence, okay? You need to experience His power and the earth and the wind and the fire, but then you need to also settle things down and experience the quiet voice. So he showed himself to be powerful, and he made the earth shake and the wind go and the fire. And that's how he showed himself in the times of Exodus when he was up on the mountain, and the thunder and the speaking and everything. He goes, hey, I'm the most powerful thing in this whole universe, and I can do anything. But then I'm also here in the quiet when you need to hear my voice. And so it's not one or the other, it's both. Yeah, I need you, God, to come in and answer my prayers and do the miracles and be the most powerful God I've ever had in my life. But then I also need to be able to experience you in the quiet moments. Come on, let me just help you. Can I help you? There's this thing called the outdoors. There's trees and bushes and a sun and air. And if you go outside of the house, you'll find it, okay? Look, God created this whole universe, and it's beautiful. Let me tell you, take a walk. Go. You don't have to do it like I'm going to like lose weight or get my heart. Just go out into nature. And the Bible tells us that all of God's creation speaks of who He is. And so as you just get outside and you go out there and you walk and you just listen, you'll start to hear who God is spoken just through nature and His voice, and you'll experience Him, and it's so beautiful. And there's this thing called vitamin D. It comes from sunlight. It makes you feel good. And look, get a chair, go out in the backyard and sit in it. I guarantee you this evening is going to be beautiful out there. And just enjoy the cool breeze and relax and be quiet and enjoy God's presence. Spend some time with Him. Look what Psalms says. This is Psalms 46:10. Do what? Be still. Don't do anything else. Just be still and know that I am God. I will be honored by every nation and will be honored throughout the world. Lastly, and we'll get out of here, you need to let God give you a new purpose. You need something new in your life. Don't just sit around and go, and I hope something stumbles upon my life. No, start serving Him. Get involved, get connected, start serving. And as you serve God, He will create a new purpose inside of you. He will give you new vision and new reason and new things in your life. Here's the thing that we need to realize. You need something in your life bigger than your problems. If all you have are your problems, there's no hope for that. No, I need something bigger to look forward to or to think about. We all have problems, but I need something bigger. And you need to give your life to something that matters, that has meaning behind it. When I serve others, there's a meaning behind that. And so I feel good, and endorphins and all that kind of good stuff starts happening. And next thing you know, I feel better about my situation. Here's what I do. And this is just a little added bonus into the crazy world of Justin, okay? Whenever I start to feel bad about something, I try to just think the opposite right away. There are times, my son, he's so wonderful, but there's times I want to kill him. And I'm just telling you, it comes up and I get frustrated and I go, but I have a son. God blessed me with a child. And so even though right now, man, all I can feel is this frustration, but I was given this gift. And there's times, man, our house is like 50-something years old and it falls apart. And I look at it and I'm like, oh my God, but I have a house. I have a roof over my head. And I'm just telling you, you can focus on the problems or you can see the blessings. Your car may be breaking down, but you got a car. You may not love your job, but you got a job. These are the things we got to do. I can focus on this, or I can look at something that's bigger and better. And let me give you the best thing. And this is what Paul shares with us. 2 Corinthians 4:16 through 18. That's why we never give up. Don't give up on life. Don't give up on the things that you have. We never give up. Why? Though our bodies are dying. Come on. After bending over all yesterday, my body is dying today. You know what I mean? I feel it. But our spirits are being renewed every day. For our present troubles are what? They're small, and they won't last very long. Yet they produce for us a glory that vastly outweighs them, that will last forever. So we don't look at the troubles we can see now. Rather, we fix our gaze on the things that cannot be seen, for these things we see now will be gone, but the things we cannot see last forever. Come on, there are hard things we're going through, but there's so much good in our lives. There's so many wonderful things that you can be happy about and be thankful for. And come on, God's not good in the good times. He's good all the time. He's good all the time. And so we got to have things in our life that take our focus off our problems and turn them to the goodness of what God has. And if everything is going wrong, even to the point where you're like, man, my life is over. Hello, heaven's coming. Right? What gets better than that? These bodies were meant to fail because eternity's with Jesus, not in these bodies. Come on, we are in a win-win situation in life. Come on, stand with me and we'll get out of here. I try to be a little bit open and honest with y'all for a reason. So I shared that there was a time, and it's probably not the only time, but the biggest time that I went through depression was when I became a pastor. And it took a little while for me to get out of that, and I had some people help me through it. But I wanted to share that with you, because if me standing up here as your pastor says, yeah, I've went through that, I'm hoping that will ease a little bit the anxiety for you to go, yeah, I've been through that and going through that as well. Because these are the moments where you kind of have that choice. I could run out of this place, not talk to anybody, or I can make a choice to start battling right now and get the help that I need, because God is here. Where 2 or 3 are gathered, He is here also. And so the answer to the problem is here, but I got to go give it to Him. I got to seek Him. I got to turn it over. I got to invite Him in. And I know that the biggest thing that we think right now is, well, if I go down there, they're going to look at me and go, oh, there's something wrong with them. Something wrong with me. I have hard days, guys. I have days where I'm like, man, God, what are you doing to me here? All I want to do is serve you and be good, and man, this is what I'm going through. I have those days. But you need people in those days to help you through it. And we have a prayer team and pastors here and people that love you. And even if you don't want to come down here in the front because that's just too hard for you today, well, grab somebody out in the lobby and just say, hey, can I steal 5 minutes of your time? I just need to talk to somebody. And allow somebody to minister to you and to help you, because what? You can't be the one talking to you. You can't do it on your own. You can't isolate yourself. You can't battle this on your own. Don't open yourself up to more. Let's get out of it. All right? You have a power that can do all things, and that's Christ in you. All right? I'm going to pray over us. We're going to open up the altar. The team's going to sing a song, but I beg of you, don't be alone in this moment. Lord, we thank you so much that you give us the answer. And the answer is always you. Lord, you haven't left us just wandering earth trying to figure it out, but you have given us a way, and all of that begins with getting into your presence and getting into you and pouring out and letting you know what's going on, so that you can take those burdens, so that you can teach us and show us how to get out of these things. Lord, we know that there's lots of people in this room that are here and available and ready to help, but I got to open myself up to somebody. I got to let somebody in so that they can be there and be accountable to me and really help me through these hard times. But Lord, I know that the victory is in you, because you have overcome the whole world, all of the problems in it. And so I know that you can give me victory over any sort of mental issue, any physical issue, any problem that I have. You're the answer. And so we just thank you and give you the glory and the praise for what you're going to do. In your name we pray. Amen.